So welcome back.
Yes.
This is same sofa, same place in Mexico.
Just another direction now.
Just another direction. Promise to the audience, it's not the same day. We are not in the same mood. It's not the same energy, but
Totally different.
same intention.
Yeah.
I mean, I changed my clothes, so obviously.
Yeah, me too.
Should be something like it's not the same day.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time again. Our audience, and I think my own self and criticism and feedback was like, well, we kind of had an amazing conversation last time and touched many topics that are, well, what we consider to be our vision of the world, our reality, our truth also, and what we believe in sharing. But at the same time, there was like, what's more about the brain? What's more about neuromobility? What is it? Why is it so important? Who are you, David? Like, is David your real name? Or, you know, like all of that. So, well, we had that intention to sit here again, same sofa, since it's a good place.
Yeah.
And to, dig deeper into that topic and well, your expertise in neuromobility, especially, and also like all those skills that you have developed, that knowledge that you have developed over time, over the brain, over the body. And well, in my case, what also interests me is how is it all that linked to emotions and to one's leadership and to one's sense of grounding and confidence in your body and in your energy and just all of that. So well, we're gonna
Where should I start?
Where should I start?
Maybe
is David your real name?
my real name is David. Sorry for my R.
And who are you?
So I'm as you said, I call myself a neuromobility coach.
Yeah.
And I was born in Germany. I had my own gym in Germany, like a personal training gym. And what was my passion about, like I was always, since my youth, I was like loving sports and games, and football was like my main sport. And I couldn't play after a few years because I get injured.
How old were you?
I don't maybe it started with 15, 16 that I couldn't play anymore because I had like knee pain all my time. Yeah.
So you were a teenager and you couldn't even like continue to play in your football team because of your knee.
Exactly, and I was like
And
really
that's
good
hard.
at that, and I started like I don't know, as a child, you know, like really early to play football, and I was like in a really good team. But yeah, and then I couldn't play anymore, and everybody, like every doctor, every therapist, trying to find out what's going on in my knee.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of testing. They did a lot of operation. They looked inside my knee, but nobody could see anything.
So wait, like to contextualize that. So you could not run. You had also like been when you were walking.
Walking was okay, but running or jumping was impossible.
Was hard.
Yeah.
How many diagnoses did you have from different doctors?
Oh man, I did everything. I made a in Germany it's like MRT. So they looked inside my knee. They couldn't see anything. I tried to go to different therapists. I tried a lot of treatments like TENS and everything. Like I tried everything, acupuncture. But then they say, okay, we have to look inside your knee. So we have to operate and we have to look inside. So I was like agreeing on that. And then when I wake up after the operation, I say, yeah, we couldn't find anything. But because you have like this pressure all the time in your knee, we made like 2 holes through your kneecap. And they didn't tell me before. So they put like 2 holes into my kneecaps. And they say, because this can maybe help you to reduce the pressure in your knee. And after the operation, it was worse. So there was like, they make it worse actually. So
how was it mentally for you at that moment? I mean, I can imagine that first you can't play your favorite sports. You don't have any answers on something that is really hurting you on the daily life in your body. You get on the operation table, they do something to your body that you never agreed on, and it's even worse after.
Yeah, I
How was
realized
that?
that probably doctors or therapists, like the normal medical system, is probably not the right for me. And I felt like really they treated me like shit, to be honest. And I was like really disappointed. I was also like aggressive. So to be honest, in my youth, I have been in a lot of fights with other guys. So I was really aggressive because I have this yeah, like I couldn't, yeah, I need to put my energy somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I attracted some, yeah, aggressive guys and I was always in a fight, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm the nicest guy, you know, like everybody who knows me, but in my youth it was like, oh my God. So, and then I said, okay, I have to do something else because I couldn't play
Yeah.
football anymore. So I'm starting with fighting sports, you know. I started with boxing, I started with Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Um,
And did that come from the fact that you had so much like anger and hard emotions coming inside?
yeah, also like my competitive side, you know,
Yeah.
because in football I was always competitive and there was something missing, you know. And then I realized with fighting sport it helped. So I was totally more relaxed. I was not angry and violent or like aggressive anymore.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could regulate your emotions
yeah,
much
so it really
better.
helped me. But then I realized, okay, after like I did a lot of sparring and fight with other guys in the training,
That's
my knee
also something
started
we have in
to,
common that I didn't know. Like I used to love boxing.
yeah,
Now that I'm here in Mexico, I haven't found a place that I like to box
yeah.
to. But to me, it's never been something that I like to do to regulate emotions, but more of the how I feel in my body when doing it. It's pushing you to some mental, physical
Yeah.
limits of yourself, and going in that zone is something that just gives you a sense of confidence and of peace inside that comes from strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I realized, okay, I get knee pain again. So my knee pain was never gone. So
So
after
it
I did a lot
started
of
again.
sparring, it started again. And then I couldn't do like a Muay Thai anymore. So I said, okay, what can I do else? So I'm starting with Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, ground finding is a little bit more gentle for your knee, but to be honest, it wasn't. So I did this like 1 year, but I also had to stop because of my knee pain. So I was like, really, okay, what should I do? And then I was like, okay, I have to find my own solution for my pain because nobody else could help me, right? So I made my research about mobility training. So I
So you
learned,
started the research on your own, like
yeah,
a night. You
yeah,
were like, okay, I'm gonna start to look
I
upon.
have to because nobody could help me. So I
And what
was
did you
like,
type in Google? Like, my knee is hurting and I don't know what to
yeah, I
do.
mean, if you go on YouTube or just in general, if you talk with a therapist, they all say, okay, you have to work on your mobility because I
Okay.
had like knee pain because all of my left side, the muscles around my knee was always tight. And this was where probably the pain come from because there was like a lot of tension on my left
Okay.
side.
So
Yeah,
it was not the knee itself, it was the surroundings of the knee that were unbalanced
yeah.
and the mobility that was not in a perfect state.
Exactly. And then I started, okay,
Wow.
if I'm like,
Yeah.
I study all about mobility training. Yeah, I made every education about it. I wrote every book about it. And then I was starting to implement mobility training in my training, but also with my clients
So
because I
as a
thought,
coach.
yeah, if you're like flexible, you don't have pain, right? And all these like kind of flexibility exercise, trigger point exercise, they help to reduce the tension in my muscles. But the thing is, the tension comes back and back again. So it was not solving the problem. So when I did my mobilization, I felt like better, but the tightness around my knee always was there again. So I was like, okay, shit, this is probably. I also wrote a book about mobility training because I
Yeah.
believed, okay, it helped me. So it's better than to doing like all the other therapists trying to help
Yeah.
me.
So coming from them and to be able to share
Yeah,
that that knowledge that you had just learned about and that helped you ease the pain that was in your body.
yeah.
That's
But
very courageous.
yeah, but then I realized, okay, like the pain was always there, and I started to live with that. You know,
And you
like
wrote a book and the pain didn't go away.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, talking like make my research, and then I heard
Yeah.
about. I was at this time. I had a session with a therapist who was like really good in my opinion, and he said, hey, there's like this guy coming to Germany. His name is Lars Nienhardt, and he's a neuroathletic coach, and he's training the best athletes in the world, the German football team, the best tennis players in the world, and he's learning from an American system that called Z Health. And I never heard about that before. But I heard from other therapists, okay, if you really want to be the best coach, go to Z Health. This is like
Okay. So
this,
that was a name, a word that you had already heard.
I heard about it, but
Okay.
I was not, I never know what it was before. So the therapist said, okay, this guy is here for a weekend. Let's go there for a workshop. And I was like, okay. I mean, I tried everything, why not? You know, and this workshop was really expensive, and there were like 50, 60, I don't know, many trainer, therapists, doctors that want to learn from him, yeah? And this guy, like, when it started the workshop, it was like, I looked at him and I was thinking, okay, he's not looking like an athlete because he has like a belly, you know, he's like, you know, like this comfortable coach, you know, who's not like in shape totally.
How crazy is it that we judge somebody's health from the outside, somebody's strength from the outside, whereas some people just like are maybe not looking like out like the magazines, but they are so much more healthy mentally, emotionally, physically
Yeah.
than what we are, and the strength also.
Yeah, and like then I was a little bit skeptical about it, and then, but then the workshop started, and then we were at this point where he said, okay, is somebody here in the room who has like chronic pain? And chronic pain is like if you have pain longer than 3 months. So this is
Okay.
the definition of
That
chronic
is the
pain.
definition of chronic
So I was
pain.
like, okay, I have knee pain since 15 years now. Does it count? And he said, okay, if you want, you can come in front, like the other trainers, and we can do some testing. And I was like, okay, why not? And he, like, it was crazy. I have that also on video, but I'm not allowed to publish that because it was like a workshop, and you
So
know.
frustrating.
Yeah. But anyways, I can
because this
tell.
is the essence of like your
Yeah.
whole path now and where it started.
But yeah, it's like I can tell you. So he said, okay, where do you have knee pain? I said, yeah, my left knee. And he said, okay, when do you have pain? And I said, yeah, if I'm like kneeling down on my knee, I can't because I immediately feel like a knife into my knee, you know. So I did that. He said, can you do that one time? And I was like kneeling on my knee, that's like really painful.
That was hurting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then he said, okay, do you have like another movement where you feel pain? I said, yeah, when I'm jumping after 5 times, I feel like my knee is getting tight and then I can't jump anymore. And he
Yeah.
said, okay, can you do that? And I was jumping 5 times, that's knee pain, stop. And he said,
So
okay.
he made you show in front of the audience
Yeah.
where your pain was, and that
Exactly.
actually what you were mentioning and showing it to the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then he said, okay, we make a game right now. So he gave me his iPad, and he had like an app, and he said, okay, this game is showing you different knees right now, and you don't know which side of knee it is because it's showing knees from different angles, and you have to decide if it's a left knee or right knee as fast as you can. So it shows me pictures like of a knee, and I was like, okay, left, right, I don't know, right, left. So it was really confusing for me. And then after 1 minute, when the game was over, he looked at the game and he said, ah, interesting. And I said, why? He said, you realize, you recognize the left knees 20% and the right knees of 80%. And I was
And
like,
he had not told you before that
No,
he
no.
was going to do something with your eyes and your brain.
yeah, no, he
He
didn't
had
tell
not
me. No.
told you anything.
No, and then he said, okay, can you knee down again? And I was like, okay. So I knee down. I was like, what? Wait, where's the pain? And he said, okay,
It
jump.
went away like that, like
Like that,
magic at
yeah.
once.
And I jumped 10 times, 15 times, no pain. And I was like, what? And everybody was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, I know. Okay.
Did you see him? Did you look at him differently at that moment?
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I realized, like also during the workshop, that my knee pain is not coming from my knee. And as I know now that if you have pain, there are no pain receptors in your joint. There are only threat receptors in your joint. So the thing is, your brain decides to give you pain there for a reason. So without brain, there's no pain. So then I realized my knee pain is not coming from my knee. And every doctor was like trying to fix my knee and they looked inside, but nobody looked at my brain. And then I was, what the fuck? And I said, okay, is the knee pain now gone? And he said, no, of course not. We have to figure out why is your brain giving you pain in your knee. So
You just talked about threat receptors and
Yeah.
pain receptors. Can you
Yeah.
say a little bit more about that to explain?
yeah, it's like some people, or like in the old lectures, they say like you have pain receptors in your joints, but there are no pain receptors, there are threat receptors. So every joint has like some kind of threat receptors, and when they're like getting activated, they go into your brain, and then your brain have to decide what to do with that. So it's like an alarm system. Yeah. But in the end, like I said, your brain has to say, okay, what's going on with the signal? How do I interpret the signals?
And that's the point. What makes that the brain is going to decide that it's a threat
Yeah.
or that it's safe?
Yeah. So it's like, of course, if you're hurting yourself, let's say you fall or something, and there's like a structure thing, like maybe you fall on your knee or something break, right? In the end, your brain also will give you pain there to try to stop you from doing something. Yeah. So if you have like an injury or like an accident, yeah, it could be that you're let's say they did a study, yeah, with soldiers, yeah, and soldiers they are getting like lose a limb or they're getting shot when they were in a survival situation. They said all like in this situation I didn't feel pain, but when I was out of the situation, when I survived, then the pain started. Yeah. So what I want to say with that is like you can have a structural problem, but still your knee is not giving you pain. Your brain decides to giving you pain there for stopping you, yeah,
Okay.
or protecting you. So it's
Yeah.
all about survival.
And how is that linked then with we always hear about the nervous system and the survival mode.
Yeah.
What is the link between all of that?
So yeah, like the central nervous system, it's like it's your brain and your spine, right? And they are like the signals always going to the peripheral system. So it's like your brain is always gets information. Yeah. So your brain gets information from your eyes, from your balance system, and your body awareness system. Yeah.
Okay.
So and it's all about your brain will always try to survive. Yeah. So let's say if the information that your brain gets, they are not safe, yeah, or they're like not as good as your brain wants to, then your brain will probably give you like an output, and it could be maybe pain, could be dizziness, could be low energy to stop you from doing that. Let's say you're going running, yeah, and your eyes are not working well, your balance system is not working well, your brain give you maybe knee pain from stop you from doing that. Yeah.
That was the one thing I remember a few weeks ago. You made me do some exercises also because I didn't know anything about your practice. So to discover it and to learn more about it, to experiment it myself also.
Yeah.
And you told me the brain always wants you to be safe.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that I had some unbalance in my body. I mean, I'm very, very intuitive, and the word balance kept on coming since exactly 2 days before I saw you. So when you told me, like, hey, like, first I'm gonna watch how you walk, and just out of me walking, and of course it's always different. When a person is like watching you walking, maybe you start to think, okay, how am I walking? It's like when a person is watching you eating, you know, I hate when people watch me eating because I'm like, okay, how am I eating now? Like, please just let me eat at peace.
Yeah.
But same thing when walking, and when I came back to you, you told me like, yeah, you have like you're not very balanced, and I was like, huh, funny. I trust you because my intuition also has clearly told me since a few days that there was something with balance.
Yeah.
It had came in the intention that I wanted to set from the beginning of a journey. It had came from something else also. And you explained me that topic with the brain always wants you to feel safe. So you have to train the brain in order to build the balance, the muscle strength, and what you're really looking for to build a strong body and a healthy body.
Yeah, let's say every movement that you do starts in your brain. If I'm just saying, okay, like I want to grab a glass of water, like first my brain has to make the decision for that. So there is no movement without the brain.
Yeah.
So let's say if you walk, it's like a window for me to see what's going on in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a normal gait is really important. Yeah. So, and let's say you walk and I see like maybe your head is a little bit like wobbly. Yeah. It tells me that you maybe have like a midline stability problem.
Which
that
was
you maybe
exactly
not
what you detected out of my body.
yeah, what you
Yes.
probably was not aware of, yeah? Or maybe I see one arm is swinging while you're walking and the other one is not as much as
Yes.
swinging. So let's say your right cortex is for your left movement, for your left side, and your left cortex is for your right side. So most of the things running diagonal. So if I see if one side is moving more than the other, or the other one less,
Yes.
I can see that there's probably some parts of your brain need more activation, or they're more activated than other parts of your brain. Yeah.
I feel it's such an interesting topic, and like in a second, I would love you to explain how a session happens, because
Yeah.
now we're talking really like general about the body, your experience also, and what made you come to it, but what happens practically and practical examples of it. But I think it is so interesting that we have only been treating symptoms, never the causes of the diseases.
Yeah.
And I think the word disease itself is super interesting. By the way, like every word comes from something. Emotions come from emotions, energy in motion. Disease come from disease, lack of ease in the body. But we have been used to treat symptoms, but never the root and the cause of the pain, the discomfort, and just without any criticism, but we live in a society where we are so used to have results directly for everything that we have not yet been used and accepted to train things where we might not see the direct effect, although with your practice I could just see directly the effects on my balance, my body, and I would love to share more about that also.
Yeah.
But it's not direct that you would say to somebody, hey, like, let me help you train your brain so that you gain strength,
Yeah.
balance, all those benefits in your body. And at the same time, they are essentials, because
Yeah.
those are the base for a long-term health.
For my opinion, like every trainer education should start with the brain, because
Yes.
if you want to be a movement professional, if you don't look at the brain, you miss the whole point, right? So but I think this is like the medical system, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you have some back problems, you have knee problems. Let's look at your knee or your back, or maybe, okay, take a pill, and this is the easy way. And maybe also, I would say probably the system didn't want you to heal yourself. So yeah, because then the whole medical system, would not exist anymore. If I know that before, like
Very true.
about like the neuro science stuff, that I would probably never go to doctors again, and I will not, because I know now that my knee pain was not coming from my knee. But the end of the story at the workshop was just to finish that, because I was asking, okay, is my knee pain now gone? And he said, no, we have to see why your brain is giving you knee pain. And then I realized I wear like glasses since I'm like a teenager, yeah? And then we make some eye testing, because the most and important information for your brain, sensory information, comes from your eyes. 70 till 90% in some studies said all the information sensory from your brain comes from your visual system, yeah? So let's say there's something wrong with your visual system, and I wear like glasses like for 10 years, but never checked my eyes before. And nobody told me that I can also train my eyes and get my vision fixed. So
Yeah.
then we tested my eyes, and my eyes were like a mess. They couldn't do some basic skills, like, okay, the eyes could focus going in and out, and of course, like, my sight was not good. But then I did some eye exercise, and all the muscles in my body was getting more loose and more flexible. So I get more flexibility just with eye exercises. And I was like, wow, I did all this stretching, flexibility training. But if you're just going on the symptoms and not looking at the
Yes.
cause, because every tension, every muscle tension also starts in your brain. So the brain, again, give you tension there for a reason, to protect you. So I
Yes.
realized, okay, my eyes weren't good. My balance system on my left side was like not as good as on the right. So then also my brain is like, oh, trying to protect me from falling. Let's say I'm going jumping or playing football, and my brain gives me knee pain there, maybe because I have a balance problem that nobody told me before. So I'm looking at the three systems, like the visual system, the balance system, and the body awareness system. And then I see, okay, why or with what kind of information are not as good as they should be for the brain. So I
Okay.
did eye exercise, I do balance exercise and body awareness exercise for my knee, and then my knee pain was going less and less.
Yeah.
And today I don't have knee pain anymore, but I never was like treating my knee. I was giving my brain better information about my surroundings, yeah, that my brain could release the tension on my left side. So then I had like less pain. So, and then I
What
said about,
happened
okay, like,
after? Did you start to practice those exercises that he gave you every day?
I-
When were you
I mean, it
practicing
was just a
them?
workshop, you know, like it
Yeah.
was not like a really individual thing because he just gave me his iPad and I make like a game where you activate some parts of your brain that also inhibit pain. But I didn't know what I did, you know, but I said, okay, I have to learn that for my own.
Yeah.
So then I started to learn also with Z Health, the online
The same
American,
system.
the same
Yes.
system. And I spend a lot of money, but it's like worth it because nobody else, in my opinion, combine neuroscience with athletic training, movement training as good as they do. Yeah.
Which is literally training 2.0 or 3.0 if we want to stay in the Web 3
Yeah, because
a
like
new technology
yeah,
area,
like all
but
the best
yes.
athletes in the world training like that.
Yeah.
If you see like let's say Cristiano Ronaldo or what they're doing, all this vision exercise, or like Lars Nienhardt is now the trainer of Zverev, is like one of the best tennis players in the world, and they're doing this kind of weird activation exercise before they do training, or I exercise actually.
Yeah.
So nobody is like
So just to explain to the audience, when
Yeah.
David says eye exercises, he was just approaching a
Ah.
finger to his
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe we can explain a few of those exercises right here because we're listening in the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would never imagine that the preparation of a super champion, sports champion, combat or tennis play would be to train the eyes.
But it's like
You
for
would
let's
just
say
never
for a
think
tennis
that,
player, it's like
yes.
it makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
if they can't see like the ball, or they can't follow the ball, or the ball is coming close, and they may have to make a turn, would activate their balance system.
is very
They cannot
true.
like they have to have a good timing, yeah. Like all these things matter, yeah. And your
Yes.
brain also has to have good information. Where's your body in space? So this is like the body awareness system, the third system. Yeah.
Yes.
So it makes sense. And also when we did some exercise with you, we tested your
Yeah.
strengths, right?
Exactly.
And then we had like a number, like how hard can you grip with your hand? I have like a grip strength trainer.
So what we did, if I remember well, so from the beginning you made me walk.
Yeah.
You made me walk to observe my walk. And what were you watching? What were you looking
I
at?
was looking at first of all your head. Is your
Yeah.
head like stable? And I saw like a little
Nice
wobbling.
wind, by the
yeah.
way. We start to have a little bit of wind.
Yeah,
here in
yeah, yeah.
Mexico.
We're
The
here on
rainy
my
season
palapa.
is starting, so you might hear some wind and some freshness in this heat,
Yeah, yeah.
which does good.
Exactly. So I looked at also your feet. What are
Okay.
your feet doing? Are they going more outside or inside? So probably if you go more outside, most of the time people have like a balance problem. Yeah,
Okay.
because
That's they bring their feet wider
yeah,
so they can have
so
more
they have more
stability.
balance.
Okay.
Also, I looked at your arm swing to see left and right. What are your arms doing?
To see if I'm loose or if I'm rigid.
To see which side is moving more or less.
Okay.
So to see, okay, which part of your brain probably need more activation, the left or the right side. So this is like just one testing, the gait assessment.
Yes.
And then we test your flexibility.
Exactly.
Then we test your balance, like
Yeah,
I'm
you
like
made
actually,
me fold in two, but because I'm quite flexible,
Yeah.
you're like, okay,
let's do another test.
Another exercise.
Yeah, and then we test
because
your
it might-
spine rotation. And your spine rotation was not as probably good as your when you go down.
Yes.
Yeah, so we saw, and probably most
So-
of the time people that have a balance issue, the spine is not allowing them to rotate as much.
Exactly, and that was a little bit my case. So for the spine rotation, basically I was standing up, my feet were together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Feet were together, my arms were extended in front of me and the two hands together. And I was supposed to turn with my arms extended to the right side without bending the arms and see how far I could go.
Conturn, yeah.
And then to the left side.
Exactly.
And I remember from the beginning, I could already see that one side
It's
could
more
go
stiff than the
further
other.
than the other one.
Yeah.
And that was the baseline. That was the
Exactly.
baseline that you used to set a standard. Okay, this is where your body is at.
Yeah.
Now let's do some neuromobility exercises to see what is good for you to help you in your spine flexibility.
No, because you can ask your brain if something is good for you or not. So
Yes.
if your brain likes it, you will get more flexibility, more balance, and more strength.
Yes.
So these are the three things we measured before. Then let's say we did an eye exercise, yeah, with you, and then we did the eye exercise, maybe 5 eye push-ups where your eyes focusing on your finger comes close to between your eyes, and you go back again. We did like 5 times, and then we tested again.
Yes.
And after that, you had more flexibility in your spine rotation, and you have more strength.
I remember we did 2 exercises that were so interesting for me. So the eye exercise, where I was looking at my finger with my arm extended in front of me and approaching my finger, trying to look with both eyes on my finger and then bring the finger further again.
Yeah.
And I could really feel, and you told me like, oh wow, like you have some body awareness. I could feel that I think it was my right eye was going more in
than the other one.
The other one. I was like, but that's weird. Like, can't you just be equal eyes, please?
No,
like,
it's like,
why?
if you're not training it, and probably also most of the time because we are too much on our screens and our phones.
Very true.
Like the normal, let's say, eye function that we use when we're like a lot of like outside or like in a nature, they're getting lost.
Yeah.
So we're not, let's say it's like a muscle, you know, if we're not using your eyes properly anymore, the skill is like your eyes are getting worse.
Exactly.
So your brain always get like worse information, and it's always like some kind of, I don't know what's going on, because like maybe my peripheral seeing is getting worse, like what's going on inside around me.
Yes.
And let's say in the past, if we like there's a tiger maybe coming out of the wood, we have to be aware of that.
Exactly.
And if my peripheral scene is not as good,
you don't wanna be
because
eaten
we're
by the
always in this
tiger.
kind of tunnel vision, these days. So this is like all your brain is always in this kind of, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
And let's say a ball player, tennis player, when their eyes are not going in and the ball is coming close to them, I have a problem.
Yeah.
And let's say there's a example of a football. How do you say the guy who's throwing the ball, like a goalkeeper?
You're asking me?
Goalkeeper. Sorry, and he had problems to catch the ball.
Yeah.
And then they did some eye testing, and they did the same exercise as we do, and they realized that the eyes are not going in and out completely. So they do this kind of exercise, and he was getting better of catching a ball.
So the link in this case, and also in my case when we did the exercise, was because I'm training the eyes with an exercise that is good for them and that is not usual. It's activating some
Parts of
systems
your brain.
and parts and connections in my brain that are not used to be trained.
Yeah.
So it's rewriting what the brain is telling me, like, hey, this is safe or not safe. It's just rewriting the story in my brain, which makes my brain allow my body to
lose attention.
And in this case we did the exercise. I did again the spine rotation exercise that I just explained, and I could go further to the right side. I could really see that my arms were going further.
And you get like more strength, like with a grip strength trainer.
So we did test 3 things, 3 parameters: the spine flexibility, the
strength and balance.
With a gripper and a balance. Where, by the way, David was like clapping me on the body.
This is another exercise. I call it like your reactive stability. So I was standing like behind you, and I like pushed you like from left and side, because I want to see if somebody's like pushing you, how is your reactive spine stability?
Exactly. Yes.
And it was a little bit like, you were shaking, And normally it has to be like also like for sports players, you know, if they're getting like running against someone else, their brain has to stabilize them really fast to protect them.
Exactly.
And this is like a skill. If that's not working well, again, your brain is always like this kind of, I'm not stable. And I also saw that in your gait, that your head is a little bit unstable. Your brain is always, maybe I'm gonna fall. So I'm give you more tension on this side, maybe, because protect you, because falling is one of the most important threats, of dying. So let's say if you get, your brain wants to survive. So it's all about survival.
Yes.
And what we're gonna do is like to bring your brain out of the survival mode into performance mode.
It is so interesting. And there are so many different exercises that we all are more sensitive or less sensitive to. For example, one other exercise or practice that you made me do, you told me, hey, like touch the left side of your body. So I started to caress my hand and my arms and then my chest,
Yeah.
my head also, my
Yeah.
legs, like really like I would wash my body, but just with
Yeah.
my hands. And by touching the left side of my body, it also brought me direct results with
Yeah.
you.
Because like we figured out like you have like a disbalance, yeah.
Yes.
And also when I saw that your arm is not swinging as much, let's say on your left side, so probably this is a sign for me that we need more activation in your right frontal lobe. That's for movement for the left side, and just to touching your left side activates some part of your brain, also like the on the same side, like it's called the cerebellum, yeah, that's also there for movement. So just touching the side that is probably needs more activation, activates some part of your brain, and then you're moving better, and your brain says, hey, I like that. I will give you more strength, more flexibility, more balance, because we're getting out of this. I need more activation from your left side, and maybe you're right-handed, yeah. And people, it don't have to be the case, but let's say if I'm right-handed most of the time, I'm doing a lot of things with my right hand, probably my left cortex get more activation. Then if I do some left exercise with my left hand, my right cortex gets more activation. And it's all about finding out, okay, which side need more activation than the other, and bring yourself in balance again.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to observe that our body has a lot of knowledge, has a lot of information, and that it's about learning to understand that information and where it comes from. For example, well, we talk a lot about the body showing the symptoms of emotions, emotional work that is inside, emotions that are stuck inside, processes. Kinesiology talks about that, about 12 meridians in your body and how well they circulate, the energy circulates between them or not. And for example, when a part of my body is painful, I had never been used to think of the brain. I learned that with you. But I have always been looking of the reasons why, what does that part of the body mean,
Yeah.
energy-wise? Why is it that I have some energy that is stuck in my leg, that my left feet is painful, or that I have that particular pain in my feet? And most of the time there were some either unconscious patterns, either something that were stuck. The voice is a good example. When your throat is a little bit, we're not talking about muscles now, but when your throat is a little bit closed off, or that you have a hard time express yourself in a very grounded way, most of the time, if I have that, the question that I'm going to ask myself is, which is the truth that you're not saying now? What is your own truth? What is that you're blocking? Or what are you afraid to say? Same in the body. When the lungs, the breath, are a lot related with the emotion of sadness. People die from lung cancer because of sadness, a repressed sadness, a sadness that can come from their parents, their family tree, generational sadness, but also an unconscious sadness that they are carrying from their own story. So there is a whole link, and I think the whole purpose of science now is to really try to map out and explain that. And I'm super excited for the generations to come and the children. But when you're thinking of a certain sadness that is linked to our unconscious, to the story that we're telling ourselves, if I'm telling myself that I've been alone all my childhood, I've been very sad, and that there is a lot of sadness linked to that loneliness, well, maybe I'm going to have a lot of resistance to breathe, which, by the way, is something that I had. Like for a long time, I didn't even want to touch a breath work, or I had a lot of resistance into going into a breathwork session because of my own story of sadness and generational sadness.
Yeah.
And the stories that we tell ourselves are also directly related to, well, our brain and what we define as our identity, what our brain is going to consider as safe or not safe, because it's my sense of identity or not.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to observe that very tight link that there is between our emotional world, the story that we tell ourselves, what our brain has categorized as, hey, this is safe and this is you, David, like let's go for that, and this is not you, David, or this is not you, Vanessa, let's not go for that. And how the body that keeps the score, tells the whole information, is going to reflect directly what is happening in the brain, in our emotional world, in our energy world, in our own story, in what we carry unconsciously from the generations, from ourselves.
Yeah, and I explained that at the first appointment that I do with my clients as a threat bucket. Yeah, so everything what comes in a threat bucket, yeah, or let's say the threat glass.
So it's
yeah,
not a threat package.
it's
You're
like
not
now
selling
it's like a
threat
glass.
package, luckily.
So, like let's say what I'm doing is like I can show you how to get better information from your eyes, from your balance system, from your body awareness. Of course, like what you eat is important, but also your relationships. Yeah, what are you doing with your work? Yeah, what's happening in your past with your relationships, with your parents. So everything that comes in the sweat bucket could cause like maybe an outcome that could be like sickness, pain. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is like trying to reduce the threat bucket.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm like more specialized in, I would say, like the physical part. Yeah. So, but of course, like if you're having this mindset or like bad experience and you don't solve that, yeah, in your mindset, is this like always, yeah, it's always in your threat bucket. So you have to figure out, okay, how can we get it more empty, right, to reduce the outcome.
Yeah.
So, and breathing, in my opinion, is also like a really big thing that's maybe underestimated. What I'm doing in my first sessions with my clients is to check their breathing, because your brain needs oxygen and glucose.
Yes.
So, and if you don't have that, your brain has always this kind of lack energy. I just recently had a client who told me that he has like low energy, that he always feels tired. So I did some breathing exercises with him and I checked his breathing system. Like one test that I'm doing is like how long can you hold your breath to see how's your CO2 tolerance in your body. And people that are like most of the time like stressed or have low energy, most of the time they're breathing too much. So just make some exercise with them, like to see, okay, what's going on if we increase the CO2 in your system to also get more oxygen into your brain and your cells, what's going on then? And after this exercise, he had immediately more energy, more strength, more flexibility. So
and again,
breathing is another really big topic for your brain, for your health, for your performance.
It's essential. It's the first thing that brings us life and the last thing that makes us transcend also.
Yeah.
And there are so many layers. That's why in the end, it's not a marathon. I mean, it is a marathon.
It's not the easy way, you know. Like the easiest way would probably, okay, just take a pill or like take some other things, you know, that reduce maybe the pain or like get you in a better emotional state. But the goal is like to see where the cause of the problem.
Exactly.
And then to do something for that every day. Like I telling my clients, okay, I give you these exercises, but you have to do them at least 3 times a day for 5 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, we will not change anything. If they don't agree on that, I say, okay, I'm not going to coach you and show you how to. And it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's a hard way.
Can you explain in 2 minutes how a session looks like, or how you work with the people who come to you and say like, okay, I need to work with you?
Yeah. So there are like 2 options. I can do like, I call it the do-it-yourself program. So people come to me and I do like 3 sessions with them to check every system. Yeah, start with the breathing system, then your eyes, your balance system and your body awareness. So I need like 3 sessions with that. And after every session, my clients get some exercise, like maybe 2 or 3 exercises that are individual, the best for them, yeah, that they can start doing at home. So my goal is to show them how to heal themselves so that they don't need me anymore. Of course, in the future, they have to do a re-checkup to increase maybe the intensity.
To evolve,
Or there are people who say, okay, David, I know that I should do the exercise on my own, but I need you. Yeah. So I need you. Also, I want to have a good workout for me. So people are saying, okay, I want to combine that with also like a body workout. I'm combined that with isometric training. What I recently found out is really, really good for your brain, for your body. And then I combine that and I see them like 3 times a week, yeah, online or in person. And then I coach them like over 3 months. And then they have me every time with them. Of course, they have to do the exercise also on their own,
At
but
home,
they need like
yes.
me standing there and also control them and motivate them. So this is like the premium package.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
David,